Welcome back to my channel. It's Johanna, me, my dog and books. And today I have a very playful dog. Lucy! It's the time of the evening when Lucy decides that it's playtime. Right when I press play on this video. Easier. Hello! Hello! Oh, she's wanting to chew on it. Oh, I'm in a different position. The lights are on because it is only, well, it's evening, but it's very grey and humid out there, so it seems really dull. I've got pineapple head today because that's just the way, and oh, I can't show you Lucy and not show you Patty. She's realised she can jump up onto the rocking chair here, so it's her new favourite seat at the moment. But that is not the reason I came on. The reason I've come on is because I've got a book haul. I have a book haul to show you. Most of them bar three. Three are from the library. I include them in the haul, but just a rental haul. Get them for a wee period of time. I'm going to go through them in no particular order, and I got them all secondhand, either from Vinted or WOB, worldofbooks.com. So first up is The Marriage Act by John Mars. I read this last year. I think, when did I read it? I think I got it in NetGalleys and eArc. Did I? I can't even remember now. But it was 5 stars for me. Similar to The Family Experiment, which I just reviewed in my last weekend reading vlog. This is like near future Britain speculative fiction, and in a world where I'll give you a wee bit of the blurb. Patty, no grumbles. What if marriage was the law? Dare you disobey? Britain in the near future, a right-wing government believes it has the answer to society's ills, the Sanctity of Marriage Act, which actively encourages marriage as the norm, punishing those who choose to remain single. But 4 couples are about to discover just how impossible relationships can be when the government is supervising every aspect of our personal lives, monitoring every word, every minor disagreement, like through... Let's see. Let's just try to get comfy. This may take a while. You're interrupting. Oh, one must get comfy. Sorry about that. Anyway, monitoring every word and every minor disagreement, because they all have like devices in their home about like Alexa. It's over there, so don't say it too loud. That monitors. So they'll use all the tool in its arsenal to ensure its citizens will love, honour and obey. This is so good. And The Family Experiment is the one that's come out. But I didn't own it, and I really wanted to own it because I've now got that, The Passengers. I've got a proof of the Family Experiment, but it doesn't have some of the graphics because it was a proof. So like... so when it comes out in paperback, because I have all the other ones in paperback, so I don't really want to get it in hardback, but The Family Experiment has, you know, like multimedia graphics like that in it, and on the proof version it says like graphic to come. Let's see if I can find another one. Yeah. It's like news excerpts and stuff. So added to the collection, it's one that I will likely reread. And then the other was one that I've been wanting to add to my Pages, and I'm looking over there because it's on my shelf. Pages & Co. Series of books, which is children's book by Anna James. And this is book 5, and they are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous children's books. And it's a book, they're stories, let's look at them. So if I get the others actually, so this is book 5, So not give you the synopsis of book 5, but it's a continuation of the adventures. This one's the Treehouse Library. But book 1 is Pages & Co, Tilly and the Bookwanderers. Similarly gorgeous. And it's basically, wait to hear. Welcome to Pages & Co. Since her mother's disappearance, Tilly has found comfort in stories at Pages & Co, her grandparents' bookshop. Well, straight away, we've got a book set in a bookshop. Sold. But when her favourite characters, Anne of Green Gables and Alice from Wonderland, the latter is one of also my faves, when they appear in the shop, Tilly's adventures become very real. Not only can she follow Anne and Alice into their thrilling world, she discovers she can book wander into any story she chooses. Tilly's new ability could even help her solve the mystery of what happened to her mother all those years ago. But danger may be lurking in the very next page. So anyone who loves a book about books, who loves a book about a little bit of magic, and some of your favourite characters coming to life and being able to jump inside, like the concept of being able to jump inside the books and be in a book. Anyway, this is a book series. It's middle grade. You can tell with the size of the font. I wonder if there's just like amazing part, like on how it's graphically delivered. That's not the right word, is it? There's one more. Fantastic series, and I only had up to book 4, so I didn't have book 5, so I got book 5. They are utterly beautiful and I highly recommend them for adults and children alike. Then one of my favourite authors, thriller authors, is Riley Sager, and actually this is one of his books that I didn't have and I haven't read yet, and it's called Lock Every Door. I don't know where this comes in all the books that he's had out to date. I don't know. Oh well, it says, so this must be his third, because it says also by Riley Sager, Final Girls, which I've read and loved, Last Time I Lied, which I've got not read, but Lock Every Door. So I actually don't know what this one's about, other than I will collect all of Riley Sager books eventually. So no visitors, no nights spent away from the apartment, no disturbing the other residents. Sorry, I need to take my glasses off because I do need varifocals. But anyway, these are the only rules for the Jules Larson's new job as apartment sitter at Bartholomew, one of Manhattan's most high-profile private buildings and home to the rich and famous. Recently heartbroken and practically homeless, Jules readily accepts the terms. When a neighbour confides the Bartholomew's dark history, Jules brushes it off as a harmless ghost story. But the next day, her new friend has vanished. And then Jules discovers that her friend is not the first resident to go missing. Oh, it says Ruth Ware. Oh, it's blurred by Ruth Ware and R.L. Stine. Move over, Rosemary's Baby. Urban Paranoia has a deliciously gothic new address. And it's too late to lock the doors. The horror is already inside. My favourite thriller of the year, says R.L. Stine. So I'm excited for this one. If you've read any of these, please do let me know. Of the ones that I haven't read, because I need to, that is another video that's coming, which is, here's 10 books from my shelves that I haven't read. Can you pick 2? That I'll definitely read next month. So I'll do that one next week, because I thought I'll do the whole one first. Then, also secondhand, Daphne du Maurier, My Cousin Rachel. I've read Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca way back in the day and loved it. Still love it. I find it really eerie. It's not everyone's cup of tea. I also love Daphne du Maurier's short story of The Burbs, one of my favourite Alfred Hitchcock movies. And I love the story that she wrote. And this one is Lauren and the Book's Patreon book club for this month, and I've not read My Cousin Rachel, so I actually have no idea what it's about Orphaned at an early age, Philip Ashley is raised by his benevolent cousin Ambrose. Resolutely single, Ambrose is delighted to make Philip his heir, safe in the knowledge that he will treasure his beautiful Cornish estate. But Philip's world is shattered when Ambrose sets off on a trip to Florence. There he falls in love and marries, and then dies suddenly in suspicious circumstances. Before long, the new widow, Philip's cousin Rachel, arrives in England. Despite himself, Philip is drawn to the beautiful, mysterious woman, but could she be Ambrose's killer? I had no idea what that was about. No idea at all. Picked this one because I like the cover. I know there's a movie adaptation. I'm not a fan of movie adaptation book covers, unless it's the only one I can get a hold of, but I managed to get a hold of this one second hand. So let me know if you've read that. I will actually need to start reading it soon, because I think it's the last weekend in May is the book club for that. This one is still so far one of my favourite books of this year. I read it in January. It was 5 stars. It's called Duck Feet. I think it's maybe in my January wrap up, or I've talked about it before, but if you've not seen any of those, it was actually shortlisted for the Scottish Fiction Book of the Year. So it's a Scottish book set in Scotland by a Scottish author, and there was just lots of nostalgia in this for me. So it's set in the mid-noughties in Renfrew and Paisley, which is 2 towns to the west of me, so 25 minutes in the car, but it was closer to where I grew up. So west central Scotland. Duck Feet is a relatable, quirky, and sometimes heart-wrenching coming-of-age novel. An authentic portrait of growing up in working-class Scotland. Follow the story of 12-year-old Kirsty Campbell and her friends as they navigate life from the 1st to 6th year at Renfrew Grammar School. In this celebration of youth in an ever-changing world, witness the hard-hitting challenges they face, such as drugs, bullying, sexuality and teenage pregnancy, through the warm narrative of friendship, love and humour. This is a relatable and accessible portrait of figuring out who you are, diving into the currents of life, and most of all, finding hope. Excuse me. This is just, honestly, sorry, I had a really creamy gnocchi for my dinner, and I think I'm feeling it. It's written in colloquial sort of accent language. So like the first chapter says chapter 1, like kind of Glaswegian Paisley-ish for one. So if I read, so it's kind of, I don't know if anyone's ever read Trainspotting by Irvine Welsh, which is set in Edinburgh, but it's written in a very colloquial East Coast Edinburgh accent, so it can take you a while to get into the language. It's an accent and language I'm very familiar with, so it didn't take me long, but for others who are not Scottish, or even from the north or southern parts of Scotland, it could take a wee while to get into, but I'll give you an example of it, right? This is me going full broad with my accent, right? Oh, subtitles might be required. My dad's got bad feet. He says it's when he was wee, his mother made him wear shoes that didn't fit him. She made him squish his feet into shoes that used to be his brother's, because she couldn't afford to buy new ones for the both of them. He's got curly toes now. They're all twisted around the top of each other, like the plaits my mum puts in my hair. You can see all the big blue veins in his feet, like somebody's drew them with a big felt tip pen. He can't bend his toes right. He wears steel toe caps to work in case anyone stones on them. Our school's going to be starting swimming lessons soon, and I can't wait. I can't swim yet, so I asked my dad if he'd take me down the baths to let me practice. He said no. I said, how no? He said, because I can't bloody swim, that's how no. I said, aye, but you don't need to be able to swim to go in the pool. He didn't say much after that. He just pointed out at his toes and said, you were me. Would you want to show off your feet like that? Anyway. Translation. Her dad's got funny toes. And she wanted to take him swimming. I laughed out loud so much at this book. There's so many parts to this book that is nostalgic, heartfelt. I don't know, there's a whole bit about, now I don't know if this is a Scottish school thing or what, but when I was growing up in school, I don't know if they still do it. Hopefully not. I think they might. But you had this whole thing on the run up to like Christmas or festive sort of New Year ceilidh dancing time. You'd have what they called social dancing, right? Social dancing. So it was a class where they got you in, totally binary wise, split the boys and the girls down the middle on either side of the room, and then the boys got told to pick a girl. I mean, there was no the gender at that time was purely binary, so you had the boys in one half of the room, girls in another half, and the boys were told, go and pick a girl. I never got picked. I was like one of the last one, like just like at gym class, rarely picked. So that's a beamer in itself. Then you end up dancing with the teacher, and that's where they taught you how to do ceilidh dancing, like the Gay Gordons, the Dashing White Sergeant, all the ceilidh dancing. And it is so there's a whole section where they talk about like social dancing, right, and having that class at school. I don't know the purpose of teaching you that other than to give you the absolute fear, to want you to hate ceilidh dancing. Don't get me wrong, now you can throw me in a ceilidh and I know how to do most of the dancing, but I'm not a fan of ceilidhs, alright? I'll go and I'll watch them, but they can hurt your arms getting thrown around all the place. But anyway, that does not do good for your self-esteem, and it was something that I hope that no school ever... Anyway, there's just so much of it in here. I've gone off on a tangent. There's so much in here that it's just so much fun. And actually, this came to my attention from my Welsh friend Zoe, who read it and absolutely adored it. And I was like, I don't often read Scottish books. Well, now you'll see a wee change in some of the books that I've got just now. Next are 3 books that I have bought from the same author from Vinted. They're all non-fiction, and it's because I'm going to see this author at the Edinburgh Book Festival, and are 3 books by Matt Haig. 2 I've read and 1 I've not read yet. I can't actually remember which came first. I think it might be Reasons to Stay Alive, so this is non-fiction. And they're nice, like, I think I've read these on audio actually, and that's why I don't have them as physical books. I've read them and really enjoyed them, and I think they're the kind of book I would absolutely go back to. So it's, what does it mean to feel truly alive? This is a true story of how Matt Haig came through a crisis, triumphed over mental illness that almost destroyed him, and learned to live again. Moving, funny and joyous. Reasons to Stay Alive is more than a memoir. It's a book about making the most of your time on earth. I absolutely adored it. And it's not just like he talks about his own mental health crisis, but is quite good at giving you like reasons to stay alive, why things go up and down, things people shouldn't say to people with depression, and things like that. Or there's a nice bit about here that says things that sometimes make me better. It's mindfulness, running, sleep, slow breathing, reading Emily Dickinson poems, writing, eating well, 80s movies, listening to music, and there's a whole list, and things being. So highly recommend that if you like books, non-fiction books and books about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and when this goes out it is Mental Health Awareness Week, so that leads me nicely on to the other one, which is called Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. I also utterly adore that. Both of these I gave 5 stars to when I read them. And it said, the world is messing with our minds. What if there's something we could do about it? Looking at sleep, news, social media addiction, work, play, Matt Haig invites us to feel calmer, happier, and question the habits of the digital age. This book might even change the way you spend your precious time on Earth. Again, lots of like like actions as well as observations on his own life stuff. 6 ways to keep up with the news and not lose your mind. And also, do you know what I noticed in this one? And I think I got them from 2 different sellers in Vinted. This one had, wait, I'll find it. This one had some highlighted bits, which I was like, oh, look, which I kind of like. And the bit they've highlighted says, people might feel better in the instant hit of the purchase, but in the long term, it just feeds a craving to be someone else. Someone more glamorous, more attractive, more famous. We're encouraged out of ourselves to want to have other lives. Lives that are no more real than the pots of gold at the end of rainbows. Oh, that's why I love second-hand books. And then the other one, which I haven't read and I will read before I go and see him because I've got to see him in August, is The Comfort Book by Haig. Which I think came out, but no, definitely came after these two. And this one is nothing stronger than a small hope that doesn't give up. The Comfort Book is a collection of consolations learned in hard times and suggestions for making bad days better. Drawing on maxims, memoir and inspirational lives of others, these meditations offer new ways of seeing ourselves and the world. The Guardian says, a guide to living and finding hope in these disjointed times. So, I think they're all books that I'll probably reread. Then, of a similar vein, but very different, is this tiny little book that I bought. It's The Pound Project. So it's by Gina Martin. It says, To Hate and Love Men. Gina Martin is a gender equality activist. And this is printed by an indie publisher. So it's The Pound Project is an independent publisher based in the UK. This is a 23rd title in the movement. Well, it's actually established in Birmingham by writer J.P. Watson. The company campaigns to put the value of the arts first. This is a 23rd title in the movement. More information about the company's ethos. Blah, 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 blah. So you kind of pay a wee bit extra to get this book. And then Gina Martin is a gender equality activist, writer, speaker and facilitator in schools. She lives with her partner and her dog, P. So this is a book about how to hate and love men. And it's really about the patriarchy, misogyny, and how a lot of women and people who identify as women can struggle with the misogyny in the world and with a hatred of men, but also maybe love the men in their life, be it sons, brothers, uncles, partners. So it says, how do we hold people accountable for wrongdoing and yet at the same time remain in touch with their humanity enough to believe in their capacity to be transformed? And I think it's like small interviews with, well, the first chapter is an interview with Bell Hooks, I think. Or is it? Yeah. I've not read it yet. I mean, it's tiny little pocketbook. The protector versus the oppressor. And then the ally versus the barrier. So I'm looking forward to reading this. I found out about this one on social media because I follow Gina Martin on Instagram. Then we have another Scottish book that I bought. I think my friend Zoe encouraged me to embrace my Scottishness and my Scottish reading. This one's called The Young Team by Graeme Armstrong. I know of the author, I know of the book, but I've never read it yet, so I'm going to buddy read this with my friend. But what I'm going to say, I hate this label and stereotype that Glasgow has. It no longer has this. I'm just saying that. Some of the times when there's story about kind of dark, violent stuff in Glasgow, and I'm like, oh, it really paints a really sort of industrial, negative story of Glasgow, and this is not it, although this was Glasgow in the early noughties. So it says, 2005, Glasgow is named Europe's murder capital, driven by the violent territorial gang and knife culture. In the housing schemes of nearby Lanarkshire, Scotland's former industrial heartland, wee boys become postcode warriors. Postcode, if you're American, is like a zip code. 2004, Azzy Williams joins the Young Team, YTP. So the Young Team's like a gang. A brutal gang conflict with their deadly rivals, the Young Toy, begins. 2012, Azzy's dreams of yet another life he faces as the toughest fight of all, the fight for a different future. Expect buckfast, expect bravado, expect street philosophy, expect rave culture, expect anxiety, expect addiction, expect a serious facial injury every 6 hours, expect murder, hope for a way out. I believe this might be getting made into or adapted. I mean, there's absolutely tons of praise for it. It's kind of like the gang culture part of Glasgow, so I'm reading that. Oh no, there's another one. I picked on one that I have read, loved, because I have Shuggy Bane, and I didn't have this one in my collection. It's Young Mungo by Douglas Stuart. If you've read Shuggy Bane and you've not read this, vice versa. If you've not read any of those, oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. So Douglas Stuart's book, which Shuggy Bane and Young Mungo just break my heart. So I'll read this. And again, this is something that I think sometimes even parts of the UK, I don't think realise how. So like, I'm on a ramble, but Belfast is well known, or Northern Ireland is well known for its sectarianism in respect of the divide by some between Protestant and Catholics. That is something that carries over quite strongly into Glasgow, still to this day. So although this one is set in, I don't know what year it's set in actually. I don't know if it says. I can't remember when I read it. So, born under different stars, Protestant Mungo and Catholic James live in a hyper-masculine world. They are caught between two of Glasgow's housing estates, where young working-class men divide themselves along sectarian lines. So, no joke, sectarianism is pretty big in Glasgow, probably on a par with Belfast. Where young working-class... and fight territorial battles for the sake of reputation. They should be sworn enemies if they're to be seen as men at all, and yet they become best friends as they find a sanctuary in the ducat that James has built for his prize racing birds. A ducat, how do you describe that? It's like a wee shed or a wee area that you can curry into. So it's basically a shed for his racing birds, but we call it ducat. As they begin to fall in love, they dream of escaping the grey city, and Mungo must work hard to hide his true self from all those around him, especially his elder brother Hamish, a local gang leader with a brutal reputation to uphold. Imbuing the everyday world of its characters with rich lyricism, Douglas Stuart's Young Mungo is a gripping, revealing story about the meaning of masculinity, the push and pull of family, the violence faced by so many queer people, and the dangers of loving someone too much. This made me cry. I'm just saying. So now that can sit nice and proudly, because I will read it with Shuggy Bane. Then, before I talk about the 3 library books, I have treated myself, haven't I? But I feel okay about it because they're second hand. But these were brand new from Waterstones, and I think, apologies if you've watched my weekend reading vlog, the other week you might have seen that I mentioned these because I bought them when I was in. But it's Maggie O'Farrell's The Marriage Portrait, which I am going to be reading for my book group at the start of June. Sounds really good. In the winter of 1561, Lucrezia, Duchess of Ferrara, is taken on an unexpected visit to a country villa by her husband Alfonso. As they sit down to dinner, it occurs to her that their journey to this lonely place has a sinister purpose. He intends to kill her. So that'll be getting read, and then this Ordinary Human Failings by Nolan. This is shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and in 1990 London is where it's set, and after the death of a young girl on a housing estate, the finger of suspicion is pointing at one reclusive Irish family, the Greens. At the heart of this family sits Carmel, a beautiful, otherworldly and once destined for a future beyond her circumstances, until life and love got in her way. Now, as the scandal unfolds, she must confront the secrets and silences that have trapped her family for so many generations. Can't wait to read this one. Also, look at the cover. So these are the books I bought. So do I need to get more out of the library? No, but I did. And these are the 3 books I picked up during the week. End of last week, actually. Also one that is shortlisted. Is it? It was definitely longlisted. I'm not sure if it was shortlisted. For the Women's Prize for Fiction, it is Brotherless Night. Look at that cover. 16-year-old Sashi wants to become a doctor, but over the next decade, as a vicious civil war tears through her hometown of Daphne, her dream spins off course as she sees those around her, including her 4 beloved brothers and their best friend, get swept up in violent political ideologies and their consequences. Desperate to act, she must ask herself, is it possible for anyone to move through life without doing harm? Oh, sounds absolutely stunning. Then one that I've had on my my wish list and my to read list for a long time is Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. I think this is supposed to be a disturbing book. This is a really different cover to the one that I think you get in the US, which I think I like. But actually, it's a really weird cover. Can you see that? I think it's a flower it's got around its neck. Oh, actually, it's just been blurred by a book that I've DNF'd by an author, but not because it just wasn't for me. Freedom comes in many forms. At home full-time with her 2-year-old son, an artist finds she is struggling. She is lonely and exhausted. She had imagined. What was it she had imagined? She had imagined. What was it she had imagined? Her husband, always travelling for work, calls her from faraway hotel rooms. One more toddler bedtime and she fears she might lose her mind. Instead, quite suddenly, she starts gaining things, surprising things that happen one night when her child will not sleep. Sharper canines, strange new patches of hair, new appetites, new instincts, and from deep within herself, a new voice. With its clear eyes on contemporary womanhood and sharp take on structures of power, Night Bitch is outrageously original, joyfully subversive read that will make you want to howl in laughter and recognition. Addictive enough to be devoured in one sitting, this is an unforgettable novel from a blazing new talent. It's giving me feminism with no, it's not vampires. The things that turn into wolves. Werewolves. Werewolf vibes. And then another one that's shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, definitely longlisted, is 8 Lives of a Century-Old Trickster. This has been taken out a few times, so it obviously came out last year. I really fancied the sound of this. And sorry, it's by Mirinae Lee. At the Golden Sunset Retirement Home, it is not unusual for residents to invent stories. So when elderly Ms. Mook first begins to unspool her memories, the obituarist listening to her is sceptical. Stories of captivity, friendship, murder, adventure, assumed identities, spying, stories that take place in World War II, Indonesia, in Busan during the Korean War, in the Cold War of Pyongyang in China. The stories are so colourful and various at times, so unbelievable that they cannot surely all belong to the same women, can they? As playful and thought-provoking as it is compelling, as brutal and harrowing, is an achingly poignant and tender. This is a novel about love, war, deceit, betrayal, about identity, storytelling, and the trickery required for survival. That sounds fun. So those are my 3 library books. And then I also have a gazillion books already on my bookshelves, as you know, that I've not read. But that's the life of a bookworm. Innit? Innit? Or is it just me? It can't just be me. You must do this too. Anyway. I better get reading. Do any of these books sound of interest to you? Do you want to read any of them? Have you read any of them? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Please do, if you like this, like and subscribe and comment below. I'll come back to all your comments, I promise. And thanks so much for watching. Next up, after this one, is a weekend reading vlog. So hope you enjoy and see you again soon. Bye!